YouTube, Mike here. It's Wednesday and we're back in the shop. And I've got the cover back off this phase converter, and we're going to start the wiring now. And we'll start with the simplest one, which is connecting the idler motor by means of this pigtail up into the capacitor box. Now the ends that have the eyes will be connected to the idler motor, and each one of these is bolted together by these bolts, and there's eyes on the leads on the motor. Each one of them will be individually insulated by using this tape. So we've got our pigtail, we've got our tape, got our bolts, got our connector, and we've got a flat bladed screwdriver here, and so let's begin. Okay, we're in the idler box, and according to the instructions, it says one lead goes to wire 1 and 7, one lead goes to wire 2 and 8, and one lead goes to 3 and 9, and the other 3 leads, 4, 5, and 6, are just bolted together, and we've got those done. Each one of these wires are marked with the proper number so that you can know. Now all we have to remember is what color lead is tied to what numbers, and in that way we'll know what terminal block that we fasten it to up here. The instructions say that these terminals are starting from this side, A, B, and C. Now we know this is the ground, so this one is going to go over here and bolt into the ground terminal. And now we have to figure out which terminal these colors go into. And the way we'll do that is, again, the book tells us that terminal A gets 1 and 7 from the idler. So 1 and 7 is this one. So A gets the black. Long screwdriver. B, terminal B gets wires 2 and 8. Okay, here's wires 2 and A, that's the white wire. So the white wire is going to go to B, which is this one. And the remaining one is the red wire, which is going to get the remaining 2, and that is wire 6 and 3. And we'll just verify that. It says C, oh, that's not 6 and 3, that's 3 and 9. C is 3 and 9, so The red wire goes to 3 and 9, so the red wire, that would be correct. And that completes the termination on this, with the exception of the ground screw, which we can do right now. And finally, we'll tape up these leads, make sure that the bolts are tight, and we'll tuck them all into the idler and motor junction box and put the cover on, and we'll be done with this connection. Okay, what I've done next is I've made up the input side of this, and I've knocked the knockout out of the box. I've added a fitting on the end of this, so now let's hook this one up. Okay, now we've got the input. This just plugs right into the wall, and now we need to work on the output side of this thing. We'll need 3 conductor wire with ground, and I'll have to get the wire for that. Now the purpose of this video isn't to show you exactly how to wire. I'm not a licensed electrician, and I would recommend that, unless you are, you check with a licensed electrician. Double check your wire sizes per the recommended sizes in the book, and if any local codes apply, make sure you're aware of them and you follow that. So now we're working on the output side of this converter, and I've got the breaker installed that I bought as an option. And what this amounts to for the output is the hot wires go through the one side of the breaker, and from the breaker to this twist lock plug that they supplied, and then each machine has a drop cord with a male plug that plugs into this, and that completes the connection to the power unit. So what we've done so far is we have ran wires from the hot side of the converter box to the back side of this breaker. Now what we need to do is cut wires to run from the breaker to the one side of the plug. Okay, what we have now is we have power from the converter box into the back of the breaker, power out from the breaker, and this is a safety ground, and this will go into the plug. Now I'm not wiring into the plug because what we have here is the supplied breaker, or the breaker that I ordered as an option, is a 30 amp breaker. We have a 20 amp plug, which is what came standard in this box. And what I'm going to do is remove this 20 amp twist lock plug and replace it with a 30 amp twist lock plug, which happens to be a Leviton. And this is where I'll plug my machines into to get my 3-phase power. I started to work on this table. I dug this out the other day. This is a good heavy duty steel table, and I think I'll put the converter box right on top of here. And I can roll it around or do whatever I want with it. Plus I've got a couple of shelves that I use for storage. So now we've received our new 30 amp twist lock plug, and we'll be changing it out for this 20 amp that's in here. And once we do that, we can make the final connections, and we'll be ready to try this out.